Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about letting go, the nature and purpose of detachment in life as a kind of practice that we can cultivate and we can work upon, and something that will radically transform your experience of life and the way you engage with life. Now, detachment and letting go doesn't mean that you have to completely renunciate and run away from life. In fact, running away from life, a kind of rejection of life, is kind of inverse form of attachment. Letting go really means, it doesn't mean that you cling tightly to stuff. It doesn't mean you suppress yourself. It's rather that you, like the Buddha said, you cultivate a middle way between sort of action and inaction, acceptance and sort of rejection. Just because you're accepting the way that life is, it doesn't mean that you have to do nothing. Rather, I'm trying to frame letting go as a way that we can ease the pressure and the suffering that are caused by our mental projections and our mental expectations on reality. Let's say I'll use a concrete example, myself making this video right now. How do I let go in this moment? I let go by not having any desire to present myself in a certain way, not having a deep passion to sound smart or be entertaining. Rather, I'm sort of stepping back and I'm allowing the process to play out. Allowing the process to play out in whatever way that it needs to, even if I stutter or misspeak, that's okay, because there's a basic and primordial acceptance, a deep knowing within me that whatever is said, whatever is expressed, is the correct and most perfect expression. Even the mistakes are perfect. And what does that mean? What does it mean to say that mistakes are also perfect? I suppose what it means is that it's honoring the deep intelligence underlying everything, underlying all forms, all creations. And it's maybe getting quite metaphysical, but we have to get metaphysical here. This is what I do. And existence just is. We simply breathe, we speak, we think, we feel, and all these sensations are just happening. We do not bring these sensations in. It is an illusion to believe that we are that which causes our sensations. Perhaps you may say we are the mere witness of it. Even that is sort of on shaky grounds. Because, if we say we are witnessing all of this reality, that implies that, we are somehow separate. We are a separate observer from what is being observed. I suppose the whole non-duality shtick is to dissolve such things into one, and to say that there is just one consciousness, one undifferentiated field that is naturally intelligent, naturally creative, and naturally destructive. And reality is just a holographic emanation from this sort of source consciousness. And I know I've gone on a tangent, but what I'm trying to say, when we view this wider perspective of what is going on really, and you observe the supremacy of the whole, of reality itself and nature, and the reality that transcends the ego. This wider and not just a cognitive or intellectual appreciation, but an embodied appreciation for the feeling that you are everyone, everything, everywhere, all at once. that rattles and overwhelms the ego mind, the mind that believes itself to be this human avatar character for name, age, yada yada yada, a cluster of identities. And you see, it is the ego that gets attached. It is the ego that sort of gets too involved in outcomes and expectations, and it's the ego that doubts and doesn't have a full faith in whatever is happening. When we tap into these sort of what you may call higher or supra-conscious aspects of reality, where you are in fact merging with the whole, you're stepping out the confines of egocentric processing and you're dissolving and tapping into the whole. That's the field of psychic phenomena, or the field of creative inspiration. It's the field of dreams, the astral realms, and the more subtle dimensions of reality. When we bring our consciousness into those sort of domains in order to experience a higher vibration, or to experience more peace and bliss and well-being, to go there, you have to detach. Or if you bring your attachments and your certain illusions of identity into such realms, they will, create these karmic imaginations, these karmic representations. Your astral travel, and then your ego will create the domain that you experience, or the memories that you have. Dreams, for example, dreams are sort of these subtle synchronistic messages from your subconscious, and it will show you whatever, the causal chain of your past leads to you to experience in this moment. Everything we say in this moment, if it is not a sort of a liberated form of speech, where we are fully conscious in what we are saying and fully aware and just uttering it without fear and with this sort of reverence for the speech, any form of speech which is not that is the automatic, robotic, habitual expressions of our karmic constitution. Our karmic constitution relates to, of course, the law of karma, the law of cause and effect. And the way I understand it is that our karmic constitution is the weight of our past that bleeds into the present moment. And if we do not process the weight of our past, it will affect our life, it will affect our present moment, often in unconscious ways. And we will say things, do things, and speak unconsciously, and, repeat that cycle. And of course, as many sort of sages and gurus say, the way out of these karmic loops is to meditate upon them, to watch them and observe them closely, but to watch them and observe them from a certain psychic distance, a silent watching. And in the silence, you observe clearly, and you can observe from a distance and not get swept up in it, or get swept out of your attention into the drama of ego. When you observe it from a distance, you see it for what it is, and you allow it to, play out whatever needs to, depends on how deeply rooted the sort of the karma is invested in a certain psychic image or passion or habit or addiction. But when you watch it from a distance, you are naturally dissolving, and this clarity of awareness dissolves It purifies your consciousness. And we should never get puritanical about this sort of objective of purifying our consciousness. That can itself become another form of attachment. We get so rigidly attached to purity as a value. It can become obsessive and can hinder our ability to just detach and let go and watch and observe. So there is a silent peace in observation. And I see it as a way of existence to watch closely, not just the environment, but also my own instinctive and reactive nature. It is shadow work all the time, as your life itself becomes a meditation. But yeah, I think I'll leave that at that. It's been interesting and insightful. Goodbye, everyone.